For more on our other big story, Secretary of State Marco Rubio's visit to Israel, CBS News senior foreign correspondent Holly Williams joins us from Tel Aviv. Holly, good morning. What should we all expect from this visit? It's just the latest by a senior U.S. official this week, and we know the U.S. wants to keep this plan on track.
That's right, Errol. You know, with the Vice President J.D. Vance, as well as President Trump's negotiators, his son-in-law Jared Kushner and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, and now the Secretary of State, all visiting Israel this week, it's felt like a kind of Trump administration full-court press, trying to get all sides to stick to this fragile ceasefire in Gaza, and that's what we expect to see from the Secretary of State's visit. The ceasefire has held now more or less for more than 13 days, although at times it has looked to be teetering on the brink of collapse, most especially last Sunday when Israel briefly resumed its deadly strikes on Gaza, killing at least 45 Palestinians, according to health officials. Now, Israel said it was responding after Hamas militants launched an attack, killing 2 of its soldiers. US officials clearly want to stop that kind of thing from spiraling into a resumption of the war. They're working very hard to keep President Trump's peace plan from being derailed. Also this week, they announced the opening of a new facility in southern Israel where around 200 US troops are monitoring the ceasefire. Now, in terms of what we've seen so far, obviously the fighting has stopped. Hostages have been returned in exchange for Palestinian prisoners, although here in Israel they're still waiting for the return of the bodies of 13 hostages. We've also seen Israeli troops at work in Gaza marking out the so-called yellow line that now cuts that territory in half, and Israeli forces have withdrawn to one side of it, as stipulated by the peace plan. However, Errol, there are huge hurdles ahead. Firstly, will Hamas actually hand over its weapons? Many are skeptical that a militant group, a group designated a terrorist organization by the US, will ever do that. And then there are some people here in Israel who have their doubts that their own leader, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, will stick to the ceasefire deal. Firstly, because some far right-wing members of his own coalition would like to keep on fighting, and secondly, because arguably at least Netanyahu has pinned his political legacy to destroying Hamas. And after 2 years of devastating war, Hamas is profoundly weakened, but it still exists.
All right, Holly Williams in Tel Aviv with all the latest information for us this morning. Thank you, Holly.